Nima, good to see you, bro.
Good to see you. Nice to see you.
Long time.
Long time.
Yeah. How you been?
Good, thank you.
Right. As you can see, we're in your studio.
Right.
Yeah. How long you been in here?
Oh, it's been 11, 12 years, something like that.
In the same building?
Yeah, in the same studio space. I've had a few different rooms here.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's start over from the beginning. Who are you, and how did you end up in Stockholm's techno scene?
Right. So my name is Nima Khak. I'm a Swedish techno producer and DJ. And how I became part of the scene, I don't really know. I mean, just writing music and playing out and being part of it. It's been a big part of my life.
Okay, are you like can you write music by like notes by note or?
No. I mean, I've never really learned to write music by notes. I played piano when I was a kid and stuff like that, but I don't think that ever really stuck. So I write music with the synthesizers and sequencers, where I program the sounds and the sequences that I want, and then that's
Fantastic.
how I do it. Yeah.
Fantastic. How long you been doing that?
Well, let's see. I think my first EP was like 2004 or something like that.
But even before the EP.
Yeah, of course. I mean, before that, I was probably. I mean, a few years before that, I would say. But, you start somewhere, downloading some music programs and learning stuff, and from there you take it.
Do you remember what sparked the interest in the first place?
Just the fact that you could do it. I mean, I remember I went over to a friend's place and he showed me this really, basic music program called Fast Tracker 2.
Okay.
That was when I was like, wow, you can actually make music yourself. I mean, I had never really thought about the idea. I mean, unless you were playing like guitars or piano or a drum set or something like that. So once I just found out that you can actually do music yourself, I was hooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what year this was?
I mean, this is 90s.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I thought you were going to say DJ, because that was the first thing they had all those samples already made up.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But are you from Stockholm originally, right?
So no, I'm born in Iran.
Okay.
But I grew up north of Stockholm in Åkersberga.
Åkersberga?
Yeah.
I've been out there.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice.
I was out there for a couple of years.
Yeah. You recognize it.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But were you DJing first or making music first?
I was producing music first.
Okay.
Actually, long before I even started DJing.
Really?
Yeah. So that came many years later actually. So I mean, I produced and at the early stages it was more like experimenting and just trying to find out like how do you do music, and no real there was no really end goal of it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do a track and release it on this label or that label, but just the fact that you could actually make songs and you can make sounds, and that was it. And then, many years later, actually, I moved to Norrköping to study there, and there I met some other friends, I mean, there I would say I was starting to learn to even DJing and getting into the whole scene of playing music.
Okay. But was it electronic music from the beginning, or was it rock and roll or hip hop?
No, I was basically techno guy from day one. Like from when I was 15, 16 years old, I used to run out on raves and techno parties and stuff
really?
like that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Do you remember the first party that you went to then?
No, I don't think I can remember that. But I mean, I remember the first people that I met in Stockholm that I really felt like, okay, these parties I really like, and a guy, a friend of mine still, we meet out sometimes, Ingo, maybe you know him.
So,
yeah. They used to do these parties in like all kinds of places, renting a cabin out somewhere, and there you would get like this information through SMS and stuff like that, and you had to find a way out there. And yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, it was a new world for me also, so it was really cool.
Fantastic. Because that's kind of like how that time when I came into the scene too, that was happening like that. It's interesting how things have changed now with Facebook and Instagram and all that.
Right.
Of this.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, so you've been releasing records for how many years now, you said?
Yeah, so since 2004 basically.
Okay,
something like that.
That's a long time. That's like, what, 16, 17 years now?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
What was your first release? That.
I mean, yeah, of course, absolutely. It was something I did with a friend of mine, Lasseman. This was the years when I was still living in Norrköping, studying there, and there was this very small German label who like picked up a few tracks of ours, and they were like, "Wow!" I mean, I remember it still. It was like it was a huge day for me.
You got a copy of that somewhere?
Yeah, of course.
Can we play it in the show?
For sure.
All right,
I can,
cool.
yeah, sure.
Can I get the camera on me? Now we're gonna go into a little video clip with Nima Khak's first track. Check it out, 5T Podcast. How many tracks would you say that you've released over the years?
Oh, I have no clue anymore.
If you was to guess.
I mean, just single tracks, because like when you're releasing on vinyl, oftentimes it's like 3 tracks or 4 tracks, or sometimes it's just 2 tracks. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like over 100 probably.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
You should probably check that out. Someone's gonna ask you about that. The complete Nima Khak calendar.
I mean, it's kind of difficult to find it. I mean, like some of the stuff is just like released on vinyls, and I don't even have the copies of them. Some of them.
Really?
Yeah, and
wow.
I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, they live their own life out there, and I'm kind of happy with them as well. It's like, hey, you go, you do your thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe someday you'll rediscover. Oh, that's my track.
Yeah. It happens. It happens sometimes.
It does.
Yeah.
You go somewhere and this is randomly someone's playing something.
Yeah.
Actually, I was with you once at was it Fusion?
Yeah.
We were at Fusion, and
who
was it started playing?
I think it was Steffi who was playing.
Okay.
Or no, if either Steffi or if it was Ellen Alien. I don't remember. One of the. And I was like, "Whoa, shit! This is my track." It was really cool actually, and it was really the opening party there, and we just had arrived like a few hours before and stuff like that. So it was really nice.
Yeah, that must be a fantastic feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun just from the perspective of other musicians that I look up to, and I like that they actually pick up my record somewhere and vibe with it. Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. So are you signed to a particular label, or do you release things yourself? Or?
So I mean, in techno music, you usually release music, each release by itself. So you're not like long-term signed to any specific label. But I have both. I have 2 labels on my that I run myself, Sand and the new one, Wash Records. But I've released music with many different labels.
Okay, fantastic. And not to be this person, but just because it popped in my mind, what has been your biggest release so far? Like, what is, let's say, sold the most or downloaded the most? What track?
It's difficult. It's difficult to know actually exactly, but maybe. Yeah, I think maybe my release on Parabel did very well. I think that's been played a lot. It's difficult to know actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that popped into my head because I'm sure you're not a person that judges your achievements by how much other people, how much like normal recognition you get from that.
I mean, it's always fun, of course. It's not that I don't care about it or so, but it's not that it doesn't affect me that much. I mean, first of all, it's kind of difficult to find it out, in all honesty. I mean, like, I don't follow numbers that much. I don't really care about these kind of stuff that much. But it doesn't really, it's really fun to hear when, you know, somebody comes up to you and it's like, oh man, this track, it affected me this way or that way, or it meant something to me. I mean, I get super happy and proud about it, of course. But no, I mean, the process of writing the music is more important to me. So if it was something that, you know, I was enjoying a lot writing, or it was a specific memory that I was writing about, or a specific emotion that I was writing about, that will stick with me longer than necessarily any one particular track itself.
And where would you say you get your inspiration from? You talked about emotions. Do you think you harness more positive emotions or negative emotions, or you have to be somewhere in between? You have to be balanced in order to produce? Or
I think emotions are inspirational. So it can be happy, it can be, you know, sadness, it can be you know, melancholy, or anything. I think it's, you know, the idea of being able to, in some sense, transport a feeling from this room here to a person somewhere on the other side of the globe, or, you know, wherever. That is kind of a magical feeling, I think, and I'm very, you know, humble about it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so when you said you started producing before you started DJing, when did you start DJing then? Do you remember what year? Or
I mean, you started, you know, very small, like friends parties, and when I was studying in Norrköping, we had you know, the students' union. We were you know, a group of friends. Me, it was Nia Thule, Lasseman, a few other friends, Petter B. We tried to, you know, start like a Friday, you know, once a month type of club at the student union. To you know, play some records and stuff like that. So there I would slowly start to get into the whole, you know, DJing in front of a crowd and stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you think it was fun at first, or did you think it was stressful, or just like a ends to a means? How do you say it? Means to an end? A means to an end. Right.
No, I mean, I didn't think like that much about it in any sense. It was, I mean, so back then, obviously as a student, you didn't have that much, you know, money to you know, buy records and stuff. So we used to travel to Stockholm, you know, go through all the record stores, record shops, maybe find 3-4 different records that we really liked, and then it was fun to play those. But I mean, it wasn't like, oh, it has to be this perfect, this or that. Trying to enjoy it more than anything else. But of course you get nervous and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic to get nervous. That's part of the kick.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if I don't, if I don't get nervous for a gig, then I don't care.
What's the point?
Yeah, and it's like, then I shouldn't probably be doing it. So, you know, that's.
I think you should kind of have this desire to maybe not be the best or anything like that, but at least be entertaining to the people that's there for that day.
Yeah, and I try to think that I want to be in the moment, really, you know, sharing an experience with everybody, not trying to, you know, basically, you know, get into the zone with everybody, and trying to. So I usually say this like as an example, or not an example, I don't know how I'm going to say it. But so I feel like there is this rope between me and the dance floor. And when the dance floor pulls, I follow. And when I pull, the dance floor follows me. So this, you know, playing together.
Tug of war.
Yeah, not necessarily as a tug of war, but rather like, so if this you know, rope, if it's not tense, then there is no action, there is nothing. If it's like just hanging, I pull, nothing happens, they pull, I don't care.
Exactly.
You know, this tension, I think, is very exciting and interesting to create and you know, go with.
Yeah, it's like a feedback loop. You get and take, and they give, and you take.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. forgot who it was, some DJ I was listening to recently, and they said to them it's like making tracks is more like making a flyer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like a flyer to advertise themselves, so it's like when they do their gigs, then more people come.
Right.
It's like a way to get their
Right.
sound out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to see it, I guess. I mean, I understand that from a business perspective, right? Like, why would a promoter in Berlin or Prague book me? I mean, well, maybe some people have heard my records and they will buy a ticket and so on and so forth. But for myself, I've never really cared about that. I mean, I don't think about it of like that calculated business thinking. I don't have it really.
You started before the Instagram generation.
Oh, far before that. I mean, I had no clue about it when I started that.
Everything is analytics now, bro.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy. Sometimes I don't even want to look, but I have to.
No, of course. I mean, and so, you know, in my working life, right, as an engineer, I think it's super important. You have to be data driven and so on. Yeah. But that is, I mean, the purpose of music is not for me like data analytics. It's emotional. It's supposed to be like not necessarily the logical thinking that drives it. I don't find it that inspiring to be like, okay, so let me analyze, you know, 10,000 different, or what is hot right now, and do that. That's never. I don't care about it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's more about the feeling rather than. I mean, if you're making something good, I think some people are gonna love it. Some people are gonna fucking hate it.
Yeah, of course. I want that to be.
Because in some ways, it's supposed to be, in a way, not like the things that you've heard before.
Yeah.
And people like things that they're familiar with, and they usually have a harder time with things they aren't familiar with.
Right.
So the people who are open-minded, in my opinion, they tend to be like, oh, I'll give this a chance. This is something new, something fresh. While the people who are like a little bit like, oh, I want to hear Britney Spears, they definitely won't listen to your stuff.
Right.
But I say Britney Spears, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, and she has some awesome tracks. Toxic is a bomb.
There you go. I like that. All right, I'm starting to get super duper hungry.
Yeah, same here.
I feel like I can see it in my eyes.
Same here.
Hungry. But I always end off in the last way. I always end off in the same way, I should say. See, I can't even concentrate no more. I'm so hungry. But is there anything specific that you would like to say in this interview that we haven't gotten to yet, maybe?
I mean, I think it's been really fun. Okay. Really fun talking to each other. I think we've touched on a lot of interesting and maybe some not interesting topics as well.
Everything's interesting.
But you know, check out my new release on Wash Records. It's a project that you know, it started off basically with me. Yeah, about like a year and a half ago, I started painting aquarelles, and just as a hobby, and in no other way, and still is just some kind of a hobby. But then it evolved into this like passion, and I was thinking like, how can I combine this with my music? Because I felt that there is this like, you know, connection between them that I really didn't. So anyways, I started my new label then called Wash Records, because when you're painting your aquarelles, you say like you put on a new wash. And I've done 2 releases so far. Then yeah, they've been received very well, and yeah.
So what do you mean painting? I'm not quite understanding. You're putting music together with paintings?
No. So you're right. So I use my paintings as the covers then for the records. But also I pick 2 or 3 different colors to use in each painting, and those I then try to interpret in some sense in the music that I write.
Synesthesia.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So check that out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's the Wash
Records.
Wash Records, and the project is called?
So I released it under my own name, Nima Khak. But yeah, and then all the tracks have the name of the colors that I use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Check out Nima's project on Wash Records. This is the 5T podcast, Techno and Talk. I keep saying podcast. I said podcast every time. There we go.
Do it again.
That's why when you're trying to create new words. All right. That was Nima Khak here on the 5T Vodcast, Techno and Talk on Tuesdays and Thursdays with Ty. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all got a little bit of information or were entertained on some levels. Catch you next time.